Yo, everyone in chat, what is up? What is up? Up? We are just waiting on Anuj to step out real quick. What's up, Wolf? How are you? What up, Canada? I reinstalled Overwatch. We'll see how that goes. I got the anniversary just started. Damn. That sucks, Wolf. My lol, I was saying on the podcast last week, it's fine now. It's actually kind of funny. Like, I pulled something like right here, and it was hurting so bad for good like 4 or 5 days. And then on Sunday or Sunday, we went shooting. And so now like this is a little bruised obviously because when you shoot, you got the kick right there and I don't have like a pad or anything. But it's like while shooting, it's like almost made this feel better. Man, we haven't talked about it on the show. Oddly enough, the no build mode in Fortnite kind of sucks. Like, we don't ever build. It was the one thing we were waiting for. And they ended up adding tanks and this obnoxious bus that just destroys everything and one-shots you if they hit you with it, which, like, the hitbox on it is huge. We went and played, and it kind of sucked. And then the guns they added, because they replace the guns every season or episode, whatever they call it. And I didn't like them as much. I liked the guns in the other one. Like, even with building, the guns felt better. It's almost like in here, because you can't build, they made the guns feel like shit. So, I don't know. It's like, yeah, you're not building, but this gun can't hit the brick wall, so... Probably either means someone is smurfing or like trying to boost an account. That's normally why, if you're like a lower rank and you're solo queuing, I assume, and you're getting higher ranks, it's like the averaging out type of thing. Which is not fun. I mean, I agree with you. That's annoying. Because it never, even though the SR, the hidden MMR might be quote unquote even, it's like, okay, you could have, it could be a 5v1, and if that one is like a pro, they could probably kill the entire team of 5. Like, they would probably win. So, yeah, SR might be even if you're averaging 4 people with 0 SR, but that's not really how first-person shooters work, It's like, dude can outgun people. Halo Infinite was really... I don't know. I haven't played in forever because the game sucks. But that's how Halo Infinite would do it. So you would get people where it was like... To average it out, they would give you like a higher ranked dude, but then like 3 lower ranked people because the other team had the higher... It sucked. Like, it didn't matter. Like, it's like, yeah, you're evening it out, but are you, though? I mean, it could also mean that you're about to rank up. Typically, if you're the lower ranked person, that means you're close to a rank up game. But correct me if I'm wrong. In Valorant, when you're about to rank up, right? It's been so long since I've played. You do though, right? Yeah, okay. Phew. It's been a hot minute since I opened up Valorant. I for those interested, I am in the Gundam Evolve? Evolution. Gundam Evolution. The beta starts on the 7th. So, free sign up. Go on Steam and sign up for it. And I'm pretty sure it's like an instant you will get in type of thing. So, fingers crossed. I don't have high hopes for a free to play Japanese game. It just, that sounds like a recipe for pay to win. But here's hoping. Is the new bundle like the space one? Yeah, the Endeavor. It's pretty cool. I like the color scheme. And they have a Vandal. I might log in just to buy the Vandal. Considering I prefer to use the Vandal and it has no skin because for whatever reason. Is this skin does it have like a legendary effect, or is it that high of a skin, or is it literally just looks that it changes? It's just looks. I want something cool. I should have bought the champion skin, the champions bundle, but damn. I don't play the game enough to justify spending, well, I mean, it was what, $60 for the bundle? Like even just for the Vandal, it was like $30. No, thank y'all.
Hey, how do y'all keep track of remotes in your house?
Um,
TV remotes? I'm about to buy $100 fucking Apple rings and put them on every fucking remote. Can't find it once Kelly can't find it, and she's like, "Can you help me find it real quick?" Turn the bed inside out.
we use Amazon, the Amazon TV, thingy,
Mm-hmm.
and that remote is the tiniest remote that you'll ever, like, it's like obnoxiously small. Like it's like the Apple remote if you've ever seen that,
Yeah.
It's so stupid. To answer your question, we don't. We constantly lose it. Actually, what I try to do is I'll place it on the fireplace mantle because it's the one place Shepard can't get to. So like Shepard or Clyde will grab it, and so we place it on the fireplace mantle. That's our go-to place. Now, in a perfect world, everyone would put it back there, but they don't. And 99% of the time, it
It's
falls
funny
on the
that you
couch.
say that spot because that's the same thing that I try to do. But if Kelly watches or something, not to throw her under the bus, it doesn't always go back there, and then it's lost the next time.
Yep. God forbid you tell them that, Anuj. God forbid.
She's like, "I can't find the remote." I was like, "Well, You're gonna have to. I have to look too. Like I don't know where it's at. She's like, "Would you tell me?" Literally turn the bed inside out.
That's what I
No
always.
remote.
It's like, do you know where the remote is? No. Well, it's like I don't know any more than you.
I know what you know. We have the same information on this missing remote.
Your guess is as good as mine. All right. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
What episode is this? 370. Welcome to episode 378 of the Center Ring Esports podcast presented by Philly Esports. And this is going to be the best episode ever because we have a lot of Valorant to get to, including the first Valorant Master event of the year. We are back in Iceland, so we will discuss that and other Valorant news going around the world. We have a major number 2 for CDL wrap up. Nothing in major there, so we'll JK. Cinderella story, maybe we'll discuss, and as well as e-news to get to. But before we get to that, let me tell you about my good friend, my best friends at Philly Esports. They host monthly, sometimes even multiple events that you and your friends can sign up completely for free. This weekend, in person, April 9th, Super Smash Brothers event, $2,000 prize pool. You got Boston Scott of the Philadelphia Eagles will be there in attendance. You can challenge him. You can play him. They're offering a raffle to win jersey. I think it's a jersey, some type of football memorabilia. You can do that in person only with Philly Esports. Go to phillyesports.gg, sign up, tell them the TCR boys sent you.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Ron Rambo Kim, and you are listening to The Center Ring.
Okay, so let's start.
Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome. Welcome back to another edition of The Center Ring, aka TCR, aka your favorite esports podcast, presented by Philly Esports. This is episode 378, coming to you live and or pre-recorded from an undisclosed location. The date, April 5th, 2022. The time is 9:26 p.m. Central Time. Go ahead and follow us on Twitter at The Center Ring. Join our Discord, be a part of the conversation there. Ask if we want to play some games. We're always down. We're kind of in a, in fact, we're pretty much down to game anything, ladies and gentlemen, because we have hit our annual, well, I guess we'll reinstall WoW again phase. So it's official. We're out of things to play. So please join the Discord and ask us to play something, because we got the time. We got no other games distracting us. My name is Tim. I'll be your captain for this journey into esports, and alongside me, as always, is my best friend, my brown friend. It's Anuj. What's up?
It always hurts to admit when we have to like jump back into WoW. Like I feel a little guilty saying it because I'm not in love with the game right now. It's just
I don't
when
want
I
to play
run
it.
out of stuff to play, it's just my side chick. It's like who I go back to, you know?
Yeah, no, I don't want to play WoW. But you're absolutely right. When it's like, and you know, also I'll play like a, you know, God forbid, Anuj, a single player game. Like I'm some type of basement virgin playing a single player game. But hey, it's that time of year, and sometimes you just gotta satisfy yourself and play a single player game. But then it's like late at night when you don't want to think. Like last night we were on and we were like, man, we're tired. I'm not in an FPS type of mood. All right, let's fire up WoW. Let's fire up Old Faithful. So it is. It's just, and you know what? If you play WoW, you know exactly what we're talking about. I've not had one friend just ever completely give up on WoW. They always come back.
And somebody in the group is always down to go back, which is
Yeah.
a nice thing.
Because that's all you need.
Yeah.
You just need
Yeah.
one more.
Just need one.
That's it.
And
Just-
then everybody else trickles in like cockroaches. It just bound to happen.
well, you guys back on? Well, yeah, I'll get on. I'll get on. Sure, man. Sure. And then the next expansion pack starts creeping up, and everyone starts showing back up, and you're like, well, we're all back here for another 2 months before we get stabbed in the back again. So it is the cycle of life. Death, taxes, and World of Warcraft. They will always be there. Anuj, before we get too far into the show, let's not get too far away and give you the congratulations. For those who follow us on Twitter, we went shooting on Sunday. Not only can Anuj shoot heads in a game, he can also shoot clays. You were the victorious of our group.
It was a win all the way around because I was so happy I got you guys to come out and try it for the first time. That was honestly the best part for me because now we have like a crew that wants to go do it.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
super addicting. Like it really is because you're getting to shoot a lot of rounds and there's a competitive aspect to it. So it was cool to see you guys enjoy it more than anything. I'm not going to lie. I knew I was probably going to win with the crew that we were with, so I don't come out of there feeling like I don't want to be on my high horse here. Like y'all have never done it.
You were playing against some silvers for sure.
Yeah, I was playing against silvers. My father-in-law was there. He was the only other gold Nova 3 probably, in the group, and so a lot of fun. And I'm already thinking about the next time. Honestly, it was just a good time. And for those that don't know, like this is really cool. Like, so not only is it just skeet shooting, but it's set up like a golf course. So we went through 12 holes. You take 8 shots on each hole, and kind of report your score. And it's just a cool little way of skeet shooting. I feel.
Well, it's like a mixture of like because your father-in-law explained to me the difference between skeet and trap, which I never actually knew there was a difference. I just kind of used all like, oh yeah, I'm going skeet, clay, trap shooting, and like it's just kind of one, but there is a difference. So it's like a mixture of both. And I've owned this shotgun now for years since COVID started. I bought it right before COVID started because I knew you and I've always talked about going, and we just never found the time. And finally we made the time and finally went to go shoot this shotgun that's been sitting in my closet for 2 years, and man, I had a blast. Now I'm getting all the accessories. Before, you don't want to be the guy showing up to anything your first time, but then all like the best peripherals, like you don't want to show up to your first LAN and be that kid blinding people with your RGB lights, right? You want to play it low your first time. And then the second time you're like, okay, now I'll go buy the vest and the fancy headphones. And
it's funny because I was like, okay, like I've done this 8 to 10 times now, and I haven't really bought any other than like my glasses and earmuffs and stuff like that. I was like, I don't know if I want a vest, but I might go old school, Tim. Bring it back to us 80s kids. I might get a fanny pack.
Just
to
straight
keep the
up.
shells. Just for the shells. Just a straight fanny pack.
Like not even like a quote unquote shooting fanny pack. Like just get like a 90s fanny pack.
Like an 80s, 90s fanny pack.
What? That's not a bad idea. That's actually pretty awesome.
Because I don't need a vest necessarily. Like,
no, because you have like
the shoulder pad on there, so it doesn't matter. And so I might just go like straight fanny pack and just keep the shells I need in there.
I think you should. That'd be admirable. It's pretty awesome.
All right, we'll make this happen.
So I had a lot of fun. So maybe next time we go, I don't know, maybe record video, make a video out of it. Who knows? That sounds like content creation, which I know you and I are too old to quote unquote create content, but maybe, because it is a lot of fun. So
yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah, I can't wait to do that again. Also, what's a lot of fun, Anuj, is esports, and we got them for you. Let's get into Yikes of the Week. Now, I'll start with mine, and I will preface this because I tweeted it out earlier, and a lot of people seem to be like, who cares? This is dumb that people care about it. Scrappy from the Toronto Ultras Academy team, Call of Duty. Have you seen this video of the trash talk?
I've seen the backlash. I have not actually seen the video. So if you want to link it, I'll watch it.
I will play the audio. You don't
Okay.
necessarily need the video. Close your eyes. Imagine any old school, they're in challengers.
It's a Call of Duty event.
Yep, the TVs are right back to back. You're sitting across the table from your opponents. They stand up, talk trash, move on, right? That's the setting, so you get it. I don't know who they're playing against, but Scrappy, 19 years old, plays for Toronto Ultra Academy, never been on like the top pro level, is very energetic, as I say. He's very vocal. I'll play the audio here in just a second, but I will preface, and I said this in my tweet, I appreciate smack talk. I really do. Anyone who's played with me knows that I enjoy a good smack talking, good shit talk here and there. However, well, I'll play the audio and then I'll make my point on why. And I don't even think this is a yikes, to be fair. It's more of a cringe of the week. Like, I saw it and I just, like, a piece of me was like, oh God, I hope I don't sound like that when I talk shit. And I don't think I do, and I'll explain my case. Let me see if I can't play this audio here for you.
Nice! Let's go, Mo! Let's go, Mo! Come on, Mo! Let's go! Let's fucking go, man! Let's go! Put the fuck on, man! Let's go! Let's fucking go, guys. You are shit, especially you. I know you know your shit. You even know your shit. God damn, son. How the fuck are you guys here? Like, actually. How are you actually here? Like, damn, bro. Fucking hell. Alright. Quick one. Nice, let's go. Oh my fucking god, let's go. Oh! Who the fuck was that? You're dog shit.
So you get the idea.
Fucking choke, man. You fucking shit stand. Come on. How the fuck you choking grand finals? You guys are nervous shit stands. You guys are fucking bums. You played a whole series and you still choke.
You get it. You get the idea. And it goes on for like another minute, right? This is where I say it's cringe to me. A, you're on the academy team. Like, if you're gonna shit talk, I say you got to do it. And this is why kids these days, Anuj, they don't know how to do like classy shit talk. It's not creative, right? He's just yelling. There's no wittiness to it. There's no zinger, as I say. And maybe this is a boomer opinion. Maybe people are listening right now saying like, hey, this is COD and you're just a boomer and you don't understand it. Listen here, kids, all right? We created shit talking, all right? We do more than just yelling. We do a mental assault on your confidence. So I know how it goes. I feel like this was lazy shit talk. I feel like you're on an academy team, so you can't talk that much. It's like when people try to talk shit in a silver game to us on Counter-Strike, and you're like, buddy, we're all here. Like, and I feel
we're in the same group.
Like, I feel, and maybe you can attest to this, and maybe I'm getting soft in my old age or having kids have changed me. I really don't talk that much shit anymore. Maybe I just don't care as much.
It depends. It's 50-50 with you still. You don't do it as much. Like, you used to do it a lot more, but you'll still have your moments.
Moments. Okay.
Yeah, still have your moments.
See, maybe I...
And you still always have to have the last word.
Well, that's...
Which causes an extra amount of rage-inducing moments in my time with you. So it just depends. It's still 50-50.
Yeah, no, that is true. And I also think that, like, even after the game, you see Scrappy talking shit. I feel like I leave it in the game, though. After the game, you say GGs, you shake hands, and then you move on. You don't talk shit after the game. That's shit talking etiquette 101 for you kids out there who still want to talk shit, but still realize you're in the pro scene and you probably need to be somewhat friends with all these people eventually. That's how you handle it. Now, the other team was talking trash too. That's why I said that's like some people are like, oh my God, this is appalling and blah, blah, blah. I don't think it's appalling. I mean, it's gaming. But at the same time, I can see why if you're an org or if you're the TO, in this case, like Activision and all those people running it, I could see why you watch this and say, oof, we need to tone it down a little bit. You don't need to cut it out. He didn't say anything that was like offensive, but it's like, hey, bud, Just
I'm a non-confrontational person by nature. Like, it's not. I always find these clips super cringe. Like,
they're cringe, right?
sometimes to where I have to I honestly have to change it because I feel so embarrassed for that individual. Like on my end, maybe I'm sure he doesn't feel that way. Obviously, or he wouldn't be doing it. But I've always, in Gears of War, Call of Duty, it feels like the console scene predominantly, although we've seen it in the PC scene too. It's just sometimes it gets taken to the next
I
level.
feel like it's the leaning
and
forward or something. Like the blood flows differently on console or
like
something.
it's different. Like if you're like maybe talking in the middle of a round, like you make a big play and you yell something out, But it's like the get up, the pointing in your face, like you're gonna actually do something kind of moments where I'm like,
I will say this too.
the cool factor is completely gone here.
It doesn't help that Scrappy looks like someone that like he would fall over if you breathed on him too heavy. Like he is not a threat.
Scrawny little dude.
He is not a threatening figure whatsoever.
But Tim, he's a scrappy fighter.
He is scrappy. That is for
scrappy.
sure.
The name is fitting. Like you got to be scrappy, in general with that physique right now.
All I'm saying
he's
is
growing into his body. It's not us talking shit. Just saying it just doesn't feel hard.
I'm talking shit.
It doesn't feel hard. It makes me cringe when I see it. I'm like, the best let their play do the talking for him.
And that's why I feel like getting older, that's kind of where, and maybe again, he's 19. So let's give the benefit of the doubt. When I was 19, I remember being at MLG at events talking shit to people sitting across from me. Like I definitely not like that. Never like that.
It's just never been in because I've been to plenty of events also where it's like I've talked shit like in game, but it's never gotten to a point where it's like I'm standing up, pointing at somebody, calling them out that way. Like,
it was always in good fun. It was always in good fun. Now in hockey, on the other hand, I was.
Hockey's totally different. You're in person, you're physical, and you're in a physical sport. You're already pissed off. Like, we don't count our hockey playing days because I think we would both admit we're probably different people on the hockey.
You put me on the ice. I remember one time, man, when I first started dating my wife, her family wanted to come watch me play hockey. And I was like, okay, yeah, no, you can come. And I told my wife, I was like, hey, like, they're going to hear me. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, the stadium ain't that loud. We
don't have 1,000 people coming to see this game.
Right. This is beer league. We have like maybe 20 people in that stands watching us right now. Like, they're gonna hear me talk. And she's like, okay. And then afterwards, like, I could just see them, and I'm like,
no, I trust me. In hockey games, it's one place where, I mean, emotions get the best of you easily because there's so much contact, right? You're just like pissed off half the damn game. And so yeah.
But either way,
different.
I don't have anything wrong. I'm with you though. The Scrappy situation, nothing's wrong with it from like a moral standpoint. He didn't cross any lines in my opinions. It is just super cringe. Like there is, for all you young folk out there, and don't make fun of us for being old, because it's going to happen to you. There's a time in your life where you will hear this and you will be like, oof, that's cringe. That's a bit much for an academy team player. Like in what appears to be an early stage in the event, because they're not on main stage.
But it's funny because, like I said, you watch the pros, you don't see this in pro league. Like this is just something
because I think they're buddies and they have more respect for each other, right?
And you would wish the amateurs would learn that, because those are going to be your fellow pros at some point, right?
I don't think this helps him by any means getting ahead. Like, I understand, like, people think it's funny, people are laughing in the video, but from I don't think he's getting into his opponent's head. And then when they were talking shit to him, he looked like a scared puppy dog. So maybe that's how you do it. You just ignore it. I don't know. But for me, shit talking is more like in jest. It's fun. Whatever. It was more cringe to me than anything. I wanted to bring it up.
No, I agree with you. All right, Tim. My yikes is just a sad yikes. It's just a sad day for gamers everywhere. E3 has announced that it will not hold a physical or digital show once again in 2022. So this is back-to-back years now.
Did they do one in 21? Or no, wait, this is 22. Did they do one in 20?
I thought they did digital. I think they did digital.
Oh,
if I'm
this
not
is they're
mistaken.
not doing anything this year.
They're not doing anything.
I thought
It's
they were doing
completely
digital.
canceled.
It's completely done.
Yeah, it's completely done this
Oh,
year. And so for me, the yikes here is like I think this is just kind of the end of E3. Like those are the vibes I'm getting because every major publisher now holds their own show or presser of some sort throughout the year to do their own announcements. There is no point in them paying the big fees and having to just use their stage when it's become more of a tech show versus like a gaming focused show. So I'm sure E3 will like still do its thing, maybe without as much of a gaming focus, right?
Yeah.
Like
Here's a
Nintendo
quote here
doesn't come.
for you. It says E3 has been officially canceled to any capacity in 2022, as you already said. Organizers are confident the physical event will return in 2023. I wish I was that confident.
No, but like I'm sure it will from like a tech standpoint. Like E3 is cool. There's stuff that goes on at these events outside of gaming, right? And
It's just not going to be what it was, though.
It won't because I think too many publishers will come there with not their bigger announcements. It'll probably be like updates, but we've seen so many pull out. I'm just like, I'm not really looking forward to like an Ubisoft and EA show, like that's
Right.
not what I'm looking for. And so
I mean,
I don't know, some
hell,
of that mystique, like it just feels like it's gone.
look at today. Epic did a State of Unreal on their own on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's normally what you would expect to see at these little, conventions is like, oh, okay, they're going to show off their new engine here. And they were like, nah, fuck it. Let's do it on April 5th because that makes a whole lot. It's like some insignificant Monday. Like, let's just, or Tuesday even. Like,
no, I mean, yeah, like, I mean, granted, they wanted to get into like a tech heavy conversation and that went like pretty long for what they were trying to do. If it was at a E3, they would have to condense that down to like 5 minutes or something, and just show off some cool clips. But I just think everybody kind of wants to do their own thing. It's cheaper, especially in the digital age. They all have space where they can do it, and the right technical people are already on staff to do it. So, I just feel like we're slowly losing out on what E3 was, and it's sad because it's even more sad for me, I feel, because I've always wanted to go.
Yeah,
I never made it a priority until recently. You and I talked about going in 20, and that's when COVID hit. And so
we had it like booked and everything. Like,
yeah, we had like the permission. We were like all set to go, and we're like, okay, we'll just do it next year. And now it's just kind of fallen off. Like, I don't know how interested I am in like attending. And maybe like I would look at like a CES type event now in Vegas or something like that instead of an E3.
Yeah, I'll have to see what it's like because I agree. It's always been on my bucket list, but like to go all the way out to California to go play some indie games or what, it's like,
yeah,
I'll have to see what it turns into because you're right. It can't be what it was. Like, there's just no way. I mean, developers just don't even do it the same way. So stay hard, E3. We'll see you in 2023, apparently. So hopefully. Good dudes, plural, of the week, Anuj, as it was a busy week for good dudes. Follow up on Epic donating to Ukraine. I think last week they were at 50 million by the time we recorded. It's officially done, their 2-week venture where, 100% of the proceeds in Fortnite would go. Ended up being $144 million donated to the cause. In 2 weeks.
Bravo to them. It blows my mind that they make that much money in 2 weeks. Like, that's 2 weeks of donations. That is absurd. And so, incredible job by Epic. I mean, Epic gave us Unreal Engine today, which could hopefully change the gaming lives of everybody. And then they're over here on the side throwing 150 to Ukraine to help the relief efforts. Like, that's just incredible. You can't give them enough props, and we got to make sure that we write that down for a future like Timmy Award. Because
it's already on the list.
That's hard to top. It's really just hard to top.
It is already on the list, no doubt. And I want to talk about the Unreal event today, just because I'm a nerd and I get really into it, and I love, because it's truly like Unreal Engine. I mean, it's kind of like the basis of, you know, graphics forever now. And so I just love the fact that, like, okay, this is what's going to bog down my computer in 5 years. You know, like this is the next level of graphics and what we can expect with gaming and all these crazy ass graphics cards. And we'll talk about it, I think maybe next week, where we're going to do kind of a Nani esports show, talk about games we're looking forward to this year. So maybe we'll throw that in there. But I do want to talk about it because it looked pretty. All I could think about is how my 3070 is just going to be crying looking at it. Like,
yeah, I mean, the good thing is, like, by the time these games are developed and out, it'll be a couple years down the road. We'll be probably looking to upgrade anyway.
Yeah, start saving now though, because it looks nuts. The other good dude of the week, friend of the show, Hall of Famer Rambo, offering. So he does like the coaching and esports coaching and things like that. Don't quote me on this. I think he works for AIM Labs. But his offering his aiming formula course at 50% off, but 100% of that is going straight to Ukraine relief efforts. So I think that's awesome. Not only he didn't do the whole, hey, buy this and I'll donate 50%. No, he says pay 50% and I'm going to donate 100%. So good dude to Rambo.
That's definitely awesome. That's just a cool thing to see, because that's somebody that's also trying to grow their channel and their brand. And
yeah, like that's his income.
Yeah,
like that's money.
It's great to see people doing whatever they can, you know, and that's awesome. Bravo to him on that for sure.
Like
and Hall of Famer, TCR Hall of Famer, you know, so
we know how to pick them.
We choose the right people.
Yeah,
for sure.
What can we say? Call of Duty. We had the second major this weekend up in Minnesota. $500,000 prize pool, and man, what a back-asswards event this turned out to be. Like, early on, you were having teams getting 3-0'd, right? You had Seattle 3-0 Texas, Optic, right? That still sounds weird to me.
Yeah.
3-0ing them in the first round, eliminating them, getting, I think, 6th place? So you had the defending Major 1 champions.
Well, they didn't get eliminated there. They got eliminated in lowers, like in the third round of lowers. Like, so they did lose that first round 3-0 to Seattle, but they rebounded, I thought, nicely. They beat Minnesota 3-1. They had a epic comeback on LA Thieves. They were down 0-2 and did a reverse sweep on them. And then they faltered to Florida, which I think felt pretty surprising, but Florida played really well. You know, it feels crappy to lose to like Vivid, who was somebody you booted off the roster at the end of last year, but Florida played well, and you know, their run ended shortly after. But I thought Texas rebounded nicely after that opening defeat. I felt like they were going to be a quick exit after that 3-0, but they looked pretty good. And you know, if I were them, I wouldn't dwell too much on this. You still got a top 6. You made a little bit of a run in losers, but you lose that first round. Making a losers run like that is very, very difficult.
Well, and I think that's what it is, right? If you're Texas, you hang your hat on what you did in the losers bracket, which, I mean, if you're defending major champs, you don't ever want to say that, but I'm a glass half full kind of guy, and that's what you have to do, right? That first day was nutty all around. You had Seattle 3-0 Texas, Atlanta 3-0 New York, Florida 3-0 London, and Boston 3-0 LA Gorillas. So no team, all those matches were very, one-sided in the sense of 3-0s. All right, so you lose the first round and you go to losers. Not what you want to start with. And so to make that losers bracket run, which we'll talk about because it did happen at this event with LA winning it, they did make that insane, I'm not going to call it Cinderella, but Cinderella run, where you go all the way through losers. But that doesn't happen. Like, it it just doesn't happen. You can't consistently be like, well, guys, we're down in losers bracket first round, so I guess we just can't lose again for the next 6 matches. Like, you don't make a strategy around that. You just close your eyes and hope for the best. So I agree. Like, if I know some Texas fans on Reddit and Discord, on Twitter and everything were like freaking out because Optic somewhat has a history of, underperforming when they were favorites and all that, but I wouldn't be too worried.
I really wouldn't either. Like I said, I thought they looked pretty good, and that game against LA Thieves was a huge confidence boost to like know that you can make that type of a comeback. And it wasn't their day ultimately, but I thought we saw a lot of teams drop down early that I don't think we all necessarily obviously Thieves played so bad in the qualifiers, so they started off on the lower bracket. But like even seeing like London after how they performed at the last major to come in here and falter so quickly. Ultra, same thing. Boston fell into losers. Like the losers bracket was stacked to have to get through in this event.
Yeah, the one team, and it's not that I was expecting much, but I think they were probably hoping for more, was with New York. They went 0-2 at the event, and I think going in with the drama of dropping Clay and all that, you were hoping for probably a little more, right? Not necessarily like you probably didn't have expectations of making it far, but Call of Duty is not an esport where you can make a roster move and be like, guys, don't worry, we got time to build this thing out, and it's a new roster. That's just not how it works in esports. You make a roster change, and you are expected to have, like, immediate impact. I mean, what esport out there can you say, like, hey, guys, we're making a roster change, and it's going to take a while to mesh well? Maybe at the downtime of Counter-Strike, you can get away with that?
Yeah, like it depends on where the team was at and how they were performing. Like there's other factors that go into it. But yeah, definitely most people expect some sort of quick results, right? To at least see a glimmer
for example,
of hope, though.
Like in football, you get a new quarterback, and it's like, hey, guys, it's like year number 3 with him. Still, let's give him some time. Like in football and stuff, it's like, it's almost if you have a new quarterback, the expectation is this year's going to suck. But that's okay because next year, he'll be really good and he'll know the playbook. In esports, you're like, okay, you have 2 weeks to get used to this.
Just like in traditional sports, I think when you make a trade or acquire a big name player, you're expecting result changes immediately. But when you're pulling somebody up from amateurs or like, whatever, a tier below, you tend to want to give that a little bit more time to work itself out.
Yeah, well, I'm not
people
saying
like Simp and all of them are outliers, right? They came in and dominated early. Shotzzy, same thing. But like for the most part, if you're picking up somebody new off the streets, that's like, in an amateur league at the moment, you give them a little bit of time. If they're a big name player with proven success behind them, then yeah, you expect to see some more results immediately, I would think.
Minnesota, as Wolf says in chat, he was hoping Minnesota went well. Does kind of suck. You're at your home major, and you're out first round of losers 3-1 to Optic. Not a good look. On the bright side, you're Minnesota. So no knock on Minnesota's fan base here. But Optic winning that round does more for the attendance than Minnesota. Could you imagine if Optic lost that first round? Now, I will say, and I definitely made a point to look at the crowd. I don't know if it was fancy camera work, but it looked like a pretty good turnout even after Optic left.
It did. And, I think Atlanta is a huge draw, right? Like, hate them or love them, they're just really good, really consistent. Even when we felt like they weren't playing their best in this event, they still make it to a finals again. I don't know how much was there to this, but like Awesome from Gorillas also played on Minnesota last year and had some really good runs with them, and like was part of that team that had that crazy comeback. And so there's also he's a fan favorite, I guess you could say, in that sense. And so maybe there was a little bit of that. But yeah, I think the fans were just COD fans that were there, and I thought the turnout was pretty good. I mean, and even on the stream, on again, it's not like we're knocking YouTube. It's just we don't expect the same type of numbers, and they were still pulling close to 100K consistently for the big matches.
Yeah, no, I it's something I always pay attention for, with especially with Call of Duty, because yeah, you're right. It's just the big teams can draw in the numbers, and we talk about it every time. We talked about it the last major, where it's like, yeah, the numbers were good, but I mean, Optic were in the final, so you would expect it. So, but no, I thought the numbers were fine.
What was the number one most match, if you had to guess, if you don't know already?
In this event?
Yeah, in this event,
the number one watched. I mean, I would. So the fact that you're asking me makes me not think it's the obvious. I would say Texas LA Thieves, but
that was it.
Okay, well there you go then. So it was the obvious pick.
Yeah.
So you can't even play like a cutesy
no. I mean,
trick question. You know what it is.
One of the teams involved for sure.
You know exactly. Look at this and you go, Texas LA Thieves, done. Yeah. It not even like it wasn't even a trick question. It's exactly it.
To like 95K.
Yeah, that's to be expected. Now, on the other hand, though, you have LA Gorillas, the dumpster fire of CDL since pretty much the beginning. They have now made an incredible run. They've won the second major, going into losers bracket, the first round after losing to Boston in the winners round 1. Made the incredible run, beat Atlanta handedly, by the way, 5-2 in the finals with a last-minute sub in Spart because what's-his-face? Gunless had to step away.
Incredible. I mean, like you said, these guys have been bottom feeders for their first handful of years in the league. I mean, right? They had the drama with Silly, I think in season 1 where he was cheating on his wife, and they had all of that going on.
I honestly forgot all about that, but that was incredible.
I mean, that was like crazy as it was, just watching that kind of unfold. Then they went with the more veteran-laced roster, and that didn't work out. They tried to throw Mental in there, who was the ex Gears of War champion guy, and that took a lot of backlash because they were dropping players that were fan favorites like Cheen. I mean, this team has had so many storylines behind them and not one of them being good. And then to think coming into this event, Gunless, one of their more predominant players, is having to sit out. They're bringing in a rookie, I mean, somebody that has no experience in professional Call of Duty, and asking him to now play. They basically put him in position to be the fragger, and we're like, hey, look, we're going to play around you versus you having to adapt to us. The way they inserted him, they let him just kind of go wild, and he did. And they made one of the most incredible runs. We'll see. I mean, like you said it earlier, you just don't see teams that drop into losers round 1 make that kind of a run. You got to have a little bit of luck with who you're going up against, and I think that did favor them, right? They could have easily had Texas or LA Thieves in round 2. They easily could have had Texas again in round 3. They were able to avoid them both times there, which I think was a blessing for them because that's just a tough matchup for anyone, but a tough matchup for them. They hadn't played well against them. And then they caught the breaks where they needed them. And look, you're riding a 5-game winning streak going into the finals at that point. They must have had such a wave of confidence going into that Atlanta matchup, and they took it to them. I mean, they just kind of discarded them like it was nothing.
And what have I always said with Call of Duty is you have to be good at search and destroy. If you're not good at search and destroy, you're not going to win. Like, simple as that. It's too much of a factor when it comes to how they set up these matches. By the end of that match, I believe they were on a 10 search and destroy streak. Yep. So they have won their last 10 search and destroys, which is pretty much all at this event. That is incredible, and that pretty much tells you all you need to know, because we have historically seen, since CDL has taken over and we've had this kind of format with the game types, search and destroy, not always, but predominantly the teams that are better at search and destroy are the better teams.
You're playing it like a minimum of 2 times, and then most cases like 3 if it goes the
Right,
distance.
if it's going to the
It's like
distance. So.
you got to win them, right? You got to win those matches, and they were able to do that. And I think it's such a bummer for Atlanta because this team is on the verge of having dynasty written all over them. They really are, right? Like they've been to a couple of championships now, lost one, won one. Such a different story had they beat at that time Envy or whatever they were, Empire at the time, in their first championship, but they lost that one. They've been to like a handful of the mid-season majors that they've done and lost those in the finals, including the last 2. So it's just tough because this team is literally on the verge of greatness if they can find a way to win these championship matchups. It's not like they're getting knocked out of these events early. Nobody's
they're always there.
dethroning them. They're always there, and it's so impressive. But that resume is always going to look a little short unless they get some championships under the belt. Great that they got the big one last year, but I guess if they do that again this year and don't win any of the mid majors, that's fine. But I think it's hard to like take that dynasty approach with them, and unless they like really close some of these out, it's starting to become a trend at this point.
Well, especially against like losing against Texas in the major one was one thing, but yeah, like with these lesser teams, and I feel like we've seen that a lot with FaZe.
A handful of times.
It's just like with the smaller teams where it's like, okay,
it was like with Seattle for a while there, had their number beat them 2 times in a row.
Definitely feel like it's something with how they approach them, because we've seen it too often. We've seen it too often where they're losing to the underdog, and you're right. If you want to be classified as a dynasty, if you want to be look at this, obviously everyone has you marked as like the number 1 threat, but if you want to be looked at as a dynasty, you have to be dominant all the time. All the time.
At least when it like counts, right? Like you're talking about championship games you're losing. When we have the LeBron versus Jordan discussion, it's always the 6-0 in championships versus like, hey, well, LeBron has 5 rings, but he's lost like 4 or 5 championships now at this point. Like it just looks different on your resume. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing with Atlanta right now as a team that we know is consistently the best. They just don't close it out.
Yeah. And speaking of closing out, one last thing, and then we can move to Valorant real quick. But with LA Gorillas, not to take anything away from them, I'm seeing people call it the Cinderella story. It's just, and I don't want to take away, and I know I'm probably in the minority when I think about this, but it's just the way my brain works. I understand these majors are huge. They're $500,000 prize pools, right? Huge money. And there's 4 of them. But you can't have a quote-unquote Cinderella story unless it's champs, in my opinion. Like, this was a nice story. You're Cinderella, and you got invited to the dance. But you didn't take home the prince just yet. You have to do it in champs.
I think these count for a little bit more than maybe you're giving it. Like, I think of it like the old setup, where you had like majors throughout the year. It wasn't champs is like ultimately the big prize.
And that's what I'm saying. The Cinderella wants the big prize. Cinderella doesn't want to just be a major
I don't
winner.
think this team, maybe they do. I don't think they have a shot at that. And this for them is so big because look at the players, right? Awesome. Moved around to 2 or 3 different teams already in CDL. Look at Hook's journey. We've talked about that enough and don't have to dive back into it, but it's amazing, quite crazy, right?
Amazing what happens when he doesn't forget his ID.
Like incredible. Slasher. Like we thought he was like dead and gone, and like he was just the GA police, and like it felt like his best days were behind him. And then obviously Spart, the no name that comes in here and takes the MVP. It's just an incredible story. Like it does not happen. You have to win too many games to like think like it's just a lucky run. Like you had the run of your life with this squad, and I think it makes for like an interesting story now of like, what if they don't perform well at their next event, which they're likely not going to be like a real threat long term, right?
Well, I don't know how
So-
long Gunless is out, but you definitely have to stick with this
yeah,
roster.
it's a non-COVID related illness, so I'm going to assume, unless it's like something devastating, that he's back sooner rather than later.
You know, I would run with this
What
roster,
do you,
though.
What do you do?
You stick with the hot hand.
I think so. Isn't that what happened with Vinny from Ultra for what's it called? I'm saying his real name. What's his gamer name?
Methods?
Methods. Like, you know, they stuck with the hot hand, and he never really got his. I mean, I just feel like it's going to be tough for Gunless to come back in and be like, all right, let's just pick up where we left off, because you're probably not going to see that type of like return anyway. Like, this was like a little bit of luck involved here.
No, you stick with the hot hand, and that's just sports. We see it all the time. You know, a quarterback gets injured, a goalie gets injured, the next guy comes up and performs well, and you lose your job.
The boat's been rocked. You know, like the boat has already been rocked. Yeah. There's no going back. So I think it's just going to be this is going to apply an added pressure to everything else for them that they already have going on. Like, not just winning back to back, but now you got to do it with this other roster and live up to these unreal expectations that are now set for this team.
We'll have to see, as I think we have a break now, and it's the All-Star, and then we pick up from there.
You know, I saw a cool idea that people were posting on Twitter that they should do like a World Cup event for Call of Duty. Did you see this? And somebody made the teams with like players' nationalities. I loved it so much. It's just like reading. It was like 8 or 9 countries, and they split US into US East and US West. So because there's obviously like significantly more US players, so they split US into East and West, but still had like 7 or 8 countries involved with stellar looking teams. So I was like, man, I love this idea so much. I wish they would do that. That would really be cool.
Yeah, I'm such a sucker for World Cup anything, right? So
I mean, especially with the World Cup being around the corner in November.
I mean, hell, we were there for the Overwatch World Cup where we saw USA win.
Yeah, it's just
awesome.
It's cool, and there's like a different sense of pride, and it's I think it's good for the game. So it would have been a cool idea had they planned something like that out, but let's not expect too much.
Don't expect too much. All right, let's get into VCT talk, because we have the Masters kicking off in Iceland in I was practicing before the show.
Revenjek.
Sure. It's not as difficult as it is. I know it. Reykjavik? I think that's how you say it. That's how I'm going to say it. Iceland on the 10th, starts up this Saturday, and let's just discuss it. We talked a little bit about it last week, but I did want to follow up on a few points. Fun Plus Phoenix, as we said, they're out, could not attend due to travel restrictions in Ukraine and Russia, and somehow that affects them. So they're out. They were first coming out of their division, so Liquid then replaces them, taking the 4th place, and all the other teams move up. Well, the question was, okay, what are we going to do about these points and prize money? Riot came down with their decision, and to me, it made sense. A lot of people were upset about it, but to me, I don't know what else you wanted. Pretty much, Fun Plus is getting as if they got last place. They're getting $25,000 and 200 points. I say last place. They're getting 8th place. So it's the last place as if they made it out of groups into the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, which I think is fair, because they were number 1.
You can't really do much. I mean, you got to give them something because they deserve it. It's just such a crappy situation for those players, but like it is what it is. So what are you supposed to do?
Yeah. So you know what? You get 8th place, 25,200 points, and now for Liquid, this is where I think people had issues with. Liquid is just, they're going to get what they get. So, you know, originally they weren't even a qualified team. Well, if they make a run and win 1st place, they're going to get all of those rewards, the 750 points and the prize money.
I honestly have zero problem with that
I
because you're
Don't either.
you have to fill that spot. What are they supposed to do? Like leave it blank? Then you're gonna have people bitching about somebody having a bye week and an advantage. You got to fill that spot. The only logical thing to do is take the next team in line. Like, what other way would you want them to handle that? And then why would we tell Liquid, oh yeah, no, you're now competing in the biggest event that we're having this year. Oh, but you can't win any prizes
Right.
because you shouldn't be here. Like,
Or it's like,
no,
even then, it's like,
they were next in line. Like, that's just how it works.
it's like, oh, or you get half of the points. Like, look, I understand how some people are like, well, that's not fair. It's free points. Well, no, they could get smoked and get 12th place. You know, like, they're fighting through the group stage, so there's a chance they don't even make it out of groups. And then what are you bitching about, right? So I agree with you. They're in the event. They qualified from the rules that are in place if a team can't attend. They're in the event. They play what they play and they get what they get. I don't... What other way
100%.
would people want it? I don't understand. You can't, like you said, you can't have a team show up and tell them to play, but hey, have fun because this doesn't actually matter for you.
This is just a free trip for y'all.
Right. So I felt like that was a lot of complaining about nothing.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
The other note here, and this is not involving, well, let's talk 100 Thieves after Iceland, I guess, because it is a separate topic.
No, I mean, like, we have an exciting, I think, our group stage ahead of us here, right? At least we got Optic and Liquid on the same side. We're going to be able to see if Crew is going to be carrying over that momentum from the crazy run they made, in Champions. And so, like,
now
we have some new names involved too, which is obviously exciting.
I don't want to be typical NA fanboy here. Okay, so just pump my brakes for me. That Group B looks so easy. Like, the fact that we get Liquid and Crew, like you said, what Crew are you going to get? They've been good since the dawn of Valorant in their division.
Oh, but they also made that crazy run.
I know.
To me, Group B looks significantly harder than Group A.
See,
Group A to me looks like the easier group.
I do think Optic will get out of Group B. I do.
Yeah, I mean, if I were putting money on it, I would say Optic Liquid make it out. But I think Crew, like, it's still a disservice to Crew, because really Crew is probably the favorite, if not like close to.
Maybe their time banned from the practice Discord though really comes back to haunt them here.
Right.
Maybe.
Right.
And then Fnatic, you have
and like Fnatic's made a couple of roster changes, right? This is not the same team that we're all accustomed to seeing from, like, you'll recognize Boaster on the team. And that's kind of like the big name that's stuck around for them. They've had several other changes there. Playing against NIP, a Fnatic NIP matchup, which is not your typical Swedish derby that us Counter-Strike fans are used to seeing. This is the English team versus the Brazilian NIP. And so it'll be interesting to see how groups play out. I think Group A for me is honestly a lot more of a toss-up than Group B. I think Group B, I think Liquid shows up. Like, I really feel like they're going to just turn up and play well, and take advantage of a free ride. I think they're going to play a little bit more loose because of their circumstance, and that's pretty exciting. And then on the flip side, like, heading into playoffs, Tim, like, you have...
Well, hold on. Before we get there, don't bury the lead story about Fnatic, because you mentioned that they have roster changes, but you didn't mention why, as they suspend Brave right before the event. Brave being Russian, could travel, no issue there, except for he is under investigation from the org for supposedly pro-Russian comments.
Well, that's going to be a hard pass for most people now.
That'll do it. That'll do it.
That'll get you on the bench, I mean, that's a pretty quick way to do it, regardless of how you feel, you probably should keep your mouth shut in that situation.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
So,
even if look, and you're an asshole
Like-
if you are pro-Russian at this point, but even if you are, like, bro, and I'm
Not the
looking
time.
here through the teams, just real quick here, he is the only Russian at the event.
yeah, because Gambit didn't qualify for the event.
So he was literally the only one. All he had to do was not talk, and he would have been fine. But I don't know the comments. I couldn't find them, so maybe it was internal. Maybe it's somewhere that I just can't see. But yeah, no, he's like under full blown investigation, I guess, from the org now, suspended. And I'm assuming will be off the org.
So probably soon to be released. Yeah, you would think, unless Fnatic get knocked out easily first round, then maybe they forget.
And then they realize they need him.
Yeah.
That's how it
That'd
works.
be the only reason.
That is how that works. So yeah, we have the group stages that starts on the 10th. The playoff stage, as you mentioned, we have the top seeded teams of each division waiting there in the lurks, which is G2, which is pretty awesome to see. Because although they are EU and we're supposed to hate them, I really do love Valorant G2. One, they've made roster changes and they've brought back people. Like Mixwell, he was benched and then brought back. And then to see them, and I've always preached this in esports, and I wish people would stick with their players more and kind of have their back. I appreciate them benching Mixwell, but then also having the acknowledgement of, you know what? Maybe we should have him back. Right? Like maybe he wasn't that bad and we can figure this out.
And kind of cool on Mixwell's part to like understand that, right? Like,
Right.
because he easily could have been sour about the situation and not wanted to come back and play with them, but he decided to step up and do that as well. It is cool to see because we've thought we would see G2's name in this position several times at this point. And since the early stages of Valorant, they just fell off. You know, they were the hottest team for the first 6 months, 9 months roughly. Like they were EU's golden boy, and slowly started fading, losing to teams like FPX, and then it became another team, and next thing you know, we're seeing 5-man roster swaps taking place here, and like you said, bringing Mixwell back. So it's exciting to see them in the mix. I say again, but it feels like it's probably for the first time. It's just a team we've been waiting to arrive for a long time now, and a team that obviously wasn't scared to make changes for what they felt was best. And look where they're at. So it's hard to knock them, although at the time it just felt like it was one roster move after another. But yeah, I mean, here they are catching themselves with the EU, first place position, and I don't know what's more surprising, G2 or the Guard being in that spot.
Yeah, the Guard, for people who don't follow Valorant religiously, this will be like a very random roster to a lot of people. Especially like, you're like, oh, what happened to Sentinels? Like where are, Cloud9? Where are these NA teams that we were supposed to see here? The Guard just kind of snuck up on a lot of people. They knocked out Sentinels early on in qualifiers. I'm excited to see how they perform on an international stage, which again, in Valorant, the way it's set up, unfortunately, we still only see international events so many times a year. And NA, I am just conditioned to think that we're going to be let down, right? Like the fact that Sentinels were still supposed to be this dominant force and then they fall flat. It's like, okay, are Sentinels falling flat? Did Cloud9 suck? Like, is it NA's falling behind and choking? So all these other NA teams like Guard are stepping up, not Optic, because Optic was Envy, and Envy's always been good. So I don't necessarily include them in this conversation. They're the one team that's kind of performed the way they should. Like, is Guard stepping up, and is Guard this new dominant NA number one that we are putting our hopes in? Or was it the other teams just kind of fell flat against them? You know what I'm saying?
It's like so hard to tell.
And you don't know.
I
there's no way anyone could say until we see the international
I'm
play.
going in with very mild NA expectations. I think Optic has a chance to do well, but unfortunately, they've always been like second in line, right? They just never really gotten over that hump in the bigger events. So yet to be seen, but I have some faith there because there's a track record. I mean, the guard, like you said, I mean, I haven't been watching Valorant religiously. So to me, the one name that really jumps out here is Playa, but I've seen that, I've seen what that was like on his first stint on T1, and it wasn't anything to like shine about. So I'm very excited to see what they bring to the table at this event. I'm going to be rooting for them. Obviously, it's just I feel a little bit in the dark. Like I don't know what to expect, and we'll see if this is like the next wave of talented players, or are they catching NA at a downtime?
Yeah, I'm nervous. I'm nervous as an NA fan that, I remember the first Masters last time, and it was just we were riding that high of Sentinels, and now it's completely, the tone is so different. Before NA went in and they were pumping their chest saying, yeah, we're the number one in the world, and now it's just like, thank God we have one team that instantly qualifies to the playoffs, because I'd be nervous if everyone had to get tossed into groups again. So
yeah,
we'll see. That is the 10th. Next Sunday, I believe. Yes, next Sunday. So we'll probably do a show Monday to recap those early stages at least, or that early first day match up. All right, so there's that. Oh, one last thing with Valorant news, not necessarily Masters news because they didn't qualify, but 100 Thieves, we're seeing GM DDK and head coach Sean Garris make some early moves, shaking things up, Anuj, as it looks like practice has been taking place without two very noticeable people, Hiko and Ethan.
I mean, it makes sense, right? Because 100 Thieves has underperformed. I feel like it makes more sense for Hiko to maybe go into a content creation side and just work on his stream, and he can still build with the 100 Thieves brand behind him. Might not be the worst idea. The Ethan move is like super shocking because like Ethan is now in a weird place. I think if he gets dropped from this roster, I think he should highly consider going back to Counter-Strike. Because it's just the ecosystem in Valorant. You're living off of a good salary, and I don't know what the salaries are looking like going into 2023 for Valorant. Like I feel like we hit like an awkward high point early on, and I don't know how much that'll really continue. And NACS is trying to rebound right now with at least 3 or 4 teams, and I think maybe there's a chance for him to make the move back, but it's so hard to tell. Like these were supposed to be the big names on this roster along with Nitro, and this roster just fell so flat, and unfortunately, I would have liked to see them give that original lineup a little bit longer before making the change, but Nitro's departure kind of threw that whole thing up in flames.
Yeah.
And so, they're a wait and see project for me. It's so hard to tell, if they do add Will and Stellar, like, is that going to be enough with Asuna and Bang? I really don't know. Like, it just, no Wardell in the mix. We've been waiting to see what happens with that name.
Right. And I would love to be a fly on the wall in the room to see, like, obviously they've reached out to Wardell. Like, there's no way they haven't reached out to him. Maybe they're still going to practice with them, right? Just because you practice with someone doesn't mean you're signing them.
Yeah.
It would seem nuts at this point that A, Wardell wouldn't practice with them, and B, they wouldn't want to practice with Wardell.
It just makes you wonder where he's going to go, like what's going on behind the scenes. There hasn't been a ton of leaks around Wardell information. I mean, everyone's just kind of waiting to see what happens, but I hope it's a big splash. I hope it's not a complete letdown or he goes into the content creation game, which has also been rumored. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
It will be interesting to see for sure. Let's get into some e-news as we wrap up the show with CSGO. Na'Vi defeated ago. How do you say the name?
AGO.
AGO is just how you just spell it out. Okay, that's
Yeah.
how I always thought, and I never knew. Navi defeated AGO in a historical record-breaking match, 71 rounds on the second map. Anuj, this is after.
I mean, I can't even like.
This is
I
after
can't even
AGO
fathom
lost
that.
the first map like 16-1.
Like
So-
getting smacked in that first map, and to come out and have a 71. Like, if I was Navi, I maybe would have just been like, let's just like lose this and move on to the next one and whip their
Right,
ass. You
let's
know,
finish
like
this up.
71 rounds. I just.
Simple dropped an 80 bomb. He had like 84, 86 kills, something like that. Insane.
That's really crazy. Like, really, really crazy. That's just, you don't. I don't know if we'll see that again.
No. I can't imagine. So, 71 rounds, that's nuts. Kierby is back. I thought this was almost an April Fool's, as he did the worst decision in the world to announce something on April 1st. Like, who announces something real on April 1st? First off, April 1st, we didn't talk about it at the start of the show. Dumbest day of the year. It's never
It really
funny.
is. I've just learned to like not pay attention to anything on that day.
It's just so dumb. Nothing's funny. It's just Twitter management people just think they're hilarious. It's the dumbest holiday in the world, and we should just get rid of it. But Kierby did announce on April 1st that he is back. He took some time away from the game. Looked like he's toned up a little bit. He's got facial hair. He's not a bad looking guy. And he's back ready to compete.
Yeah, I mean, really, really picked the worst day to make that announcement. But, you know, hey, it's cool to have him back. You love to have anybody back that wants to come back and compete if they can still do it. So, you know, we're excited to see where he goes. His last few stops have been a letdown, so he's got to prove himself again. It's not like a guarantee that some top 10 team is just going to instantly sign him. But look, if he wants to make a comeback, all the power to him. Like, let's see him do it.
And I'm excited because, you know, we've discussed it before that Kierby was I mean, he's super young, first of all.
Yep.
Like people forget how young he is. Because he just broke on the scene with Astralis at such a young age and won the major and everything there. So the bar was set so high. I think he needed time away. You know, like I think he needed some time away from that pressure and realize, like, you know what? I'm just going to go play the game I know how to play and not worry about living up to the expectations of being Kierby and go from there. Because he also like rubbed people the wrong way when he kind of first broke in. And, you know, like we were saying.
The way he left Astralis was like a really bad situation, right? It caused a lot of like hardship on him from a, you know, just a fan perspective. He took so much heat. So
Scrappy,
you know,
Scrappy needs to get with Kierby and like as a life coach and being like, Kierby needs like, listen here, bro, stop talking cringy trash and let's get real.
I mean, his time on North was just so forgettable, right? That whole roster just never could amount to much. So yeah, I mean, getting some time away might not have been the worst thing for him, but he is going to be on like a prove it deal, you know, like it's not a guarantee that he gets picked up by somebody badass. Like, he might have to work his way back up a little bit.
Or maybe an NA team.
Or maybe an NA team with Ethan.
There you go. In CDL news, they partnered with Upper Deck to produce official league trading cards. Upper Deck also does the Overwatch trading cards, so it's not completely surprised. I've actually heard this has been in the works for a long time. I don't know why it took 2.5 seasons for them to make a deal, considering they already work with them.
Are you a believer in this stuff? Like the card games, the card stuff for esports? Like, are you bought into it?
So I do. So you ask this. I do have CS:GO.
I know you have stuff, but like,
Right.
Like I know you have that unopened pack also. And,
Yeah, I have
and things like that. Like, but are you a believer in it? Like, do you think this is like a market that will grow exponentially from where it's at?
Yes, only because like trading cards have kind of gotten to another resurgence, like sports cards in general, and it just seems like gamers are also the type of people that like to collect shit. So I definitely think there's a market. Now, do I think it's going to be like this booming $1 million industry? You know, I don't know, but I know like the Overwatch ones are fairly popular. I don't know from a quote unquote, you know.
I feel like they just need to find a way to
sad.
make this a cool digital experience versus like gamers to me like to collect, but in digital
But
form.
see, that's the opposite though. Trading card people like physical. They
Yeah, if there's a trading card group
right.
interested in esports.
But I think especially like comic books, you know, like Marvel tried doing an NFT for comic books and it just didn't work out. I mean, people like it, but it's like the collection is half the thrill of it is opening up a pack. And,
where traditional sports and all that, they're just
Yeah.
they've had it forever.
Right.
You know, so I feel like if you're trying to do something new and break into the card scene, it's just like such a hard market to like
on the
crack.
I think the nice thing is though is like for esports it is still somewhat new, like, you know, like
Yeah.
you are kind of the first for esports, and I feel like it's something that esports people like to feel like, hey, we're included now in this, you know, like we're, you know, it's kind of cool. That being said, I just hope the design looks good. The Overwatch design, no offense to anyone who works at Upper Deck, the Overwatch design is boring and ugly, and you don't even want to collect them because they just look so dumb.
It's like basic.
So basic. Like our level of graphic design basic. Like if you asked Anuj and Tim to design your card, that's what it would look like, which is not good. So I'm excited. Like I will definitely buy some, you know, just because I'm like that. I you know, necessarily collect, I don't know, but I'll dabble.
I'll come over and look at yours.
Like I mean, well, like I said, I have the Counter-Strike, the first ever one that released, and I haven't even opened it. And now at this point, why would I? Now I save
now you
it.
just keep it going.
Yeah, just keep it. And go from there. In FPS news, this was kind of branching off. This was somewhat a good dude, but in the end, thankfully, I guess it didn't have to be this way. EA ended up changing their minds on it with this latest Apex event going down. Originally, they were only going to pay for a handful of teams, I think the bigger top-ranked teams, to attend the event, which left a lot of the smaller teams struggling to find a way to get there. So you had orgs like NRG and Nicewig, and you know, people like Nicewig step up and say, hey, you know, I'll pay for this team to go out, or we'll pay for this person to fly out. Don't worry about it, which is awesome that the community is rallying around it. But EA said, you know what, never mind. We're going to pay for everyone to get to this event and people will be able to attend. So good job all around. I don't really understand why EA would pay for some and not all and think that was a good idea. But at the same time,
or why they would pay for anyone in general.
That's what I was going to say. At the same time, if EA was like, we're not paying for anyone, we're hosting the event, you have the team, you played, you qualified, you get here. Yeah. That also makes sense to me. I guess I never thought TOs paid.
Like foot the bill for that.
Yeah. I like in traditional sports, teams pay for the travel. So like the league doesn't pay for teams to fly around.
Doesn't seem economical.
Thought it was kind of odd to begin with, but you know what? Fuck EA and they can afford it, so make them pay.
Right, get on them for at least doing it.
EA could foot the bill. In league news, T1 wins their 10th title as they take the LCK Spring against Gen G, making Faker his 10th title.
I mean, it's just crazy that we're still like. Kevin to me is no longer the expert because he told me Faker's career was like.
I thought he was retired.
I thought he was just done, you know, and here he is winning his 10th title on, I think, an undefeated team, if I'm not mistaken, too, if anything. Like, I don't think they even lost this year. So, kind of incredible what they're doing and what he's been able to accomplish in his time there.
Yeah. All he was able to accomplish for me was making me lose my bet on him that one year and never again. In other news, Usain Bolt, Olympic athlete extraordinaire, sprinter, fastest guy alive at one point, enters esports as becoming a co-owner of the org Wild. So, whatever that means to you.
Just cool that he's entering. Never heard of the org, but still cool that he's just interested in it.
Don't worry,
we'll take him, you know?
He probably never heard of him either until they approached him. So, probably how that works out. And people in the Senate. This is actually interesting. I thought this was almost as good as done, but I don't know enough about business politics to know where this is going to go. So maybe someone who knows can explain to me. But the Microsoft Blizzard merger deal is hitting some bumpy roads as people in the Senate. I saw one tweet from Elizabeth Warner tweet out saying that people need to watch out for this and it's not going to be good if it happens, and things will only get worse for Blizzard's sexual assaults if Microsoft takes over, which I don't really get that comment, but
yeah, I saw that from Elizabeth Warren. Like that comment
Warren,
didn't
is that her name?
make
Just shows you how much I pay attention.
A ton of sense, and so he was the one that Trump called Pocahontas.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I mean, it's interesting that it is hitting these road bumps. I think ultimately it'll still go through. It's like really hard
I don't
to
like
stop.
out of all the deals that happen, I don't know why this one is like the hill they're dying on, and I don't.
Just odd.
If anything, it's funny that they're saying it's going to make it worse, where everyone on the gaming side that I've heard
So
from,
I'm like they don't know. They just like to butt their head into
like
things.
literally everyone on the esports and gaming world is like, thank God this is happening because it's going to make it better. So
And
I
of
don't.
course, this is the one thing the government would shut down.
Yeah, right. Out of everything going on in the world,
Like all,
like,
no,
let's-
but just all the other bullshit that we would like help us with, like loot boxes situations and gambling. Like, no, that's fine. Oh, this merger? No, thank you.
Right. Microtransactions that exploit people. No. Don't do that. Let's look. If the government's going to start paying attention to video games, can we just figure out Halo Infinite? Okay? Can we worry about the important things here? Let's worry about that. All right. Well, there you have it. There is e-news, and there's the show. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Everyone stopping by in chat. Love you. We will be back next week, possibly Monday, possibly Tuesday. We'll see what the schedule looks like. But you can always follow us on Discord and Twitter at The Center Ring, so you know when we go live and when we do record. Talking some VCT Iceland as that kicks off next Sunday, and other stuff that I'm sure is happening. We will be back.
Got some top 5 lists that might be coming out.
Oh, yes. Join our Discord. Come play WoW with us again, as we are pretty much killing time on that game until another game comes out. So maybe that's what we will discuss next week, is what games we're looking forward to. So get your list ready. But until then, thank you again for listening. For Anuj, I'm Tim. We'll see ya. Bye. I. But yeah, to answer your question more in detail, I do think that the trading card, I do think there's a market for it. What I'd be interested to see, though, is like, I don't know. It's a delicate balance, I think, when you're getting into stuff like that. Like, even from like an NFT side, like if they wanted to go digital, it's like, how exclusive do you make it? And because that's kind of the issue with like the Overwatch stuff. Like for the longest, like they're just so hard to find anywhere because they're just not in the stores, and you can buy them online, but who knows? But like,
Bought a fanny pack.
nice. Which one?
Adidas, and it's a camo one.
Nice. So like here, point in case, I have my baseball cards here. I have a tradition where at the start of baseball, I buy one box of cards. So that's like my yearly ritual.
Do you go for like the prisms, or are you like going for the specific packs, or you just buy like a random pack from
I
the
just
store?
buy, so Topps I know is the official, so I buy the official 2022 Topps list.
Okay.
Like the official one. So, and that's, I mean, I'll buy like one pack here and there. I'm not like these people where like I'm buying 50 boxes and I'm looking for, like I could have a card in this stack worth $1 million and I have,
Well, I wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know. No, none whatsoever. In fact, the only card in this pack that really interests me was the Yu Darvish San Diego Padre card because I still think it looks very jarring to see him in a different jersey.
Yeah, but now we've seen him on what, Chicago?
Well, I can tell you. We have seen him on the Dodgers, the Cubs,
Yeah.
and now the Padres.
Yeah.
It's amazing how useless he was here. And he was
Like,
on
he had his moments.
he was on the Rangers, man, for 7 years, 6 years. He was out 1 year completely, and then after that, just kind of nothing. Man, though, I'll tell you what, talking to him, whew, that press conference was busy every time. He didn't speak any English.
I'm glad I got one of those Darvish dogs before those were gone.
I had the boomstick for Nelly Cruz.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's pretty delicious. It was mainly just like a 4-foot chili dog, but it was still good. The company that made the CS cards, which I think is called Epics or something like that, their website app are changing to a money-based instead of gold or coins you buy. I first off had no idea that's how their website was. I did know that I don't know if they still do physical cards. I know they are transitioning to NFT as well, so I don't know if they're doing both. But from what I understand, and so theirs, though, Anuj, to your point, is even when you got the physical cards for them, you could there's like a code on them, and it went into your digital. So you got a physical and a digital copy of that card.
Mm.
So oddly enough, too, so here, not like anyone does this for this reason, but for like Pokemon here, isn't it weird how much random shit I have in arm's reach? Always be prepared. So Pokemon, you get like your normal cards, but then in every Pokemon pack, they come with this. And that QR code or this code here.
It's like a digital download.
And then it lets you get not necessarily these cards, but it lets you get this pack and you open that online and it can include different cards to play with in-game.
Oh, see, that's kind of cool.
Which that is the cool way to do it, right?
Yeah.
That way you can play the game online and you're collecting in person. So, and I think the ones for Counter-Strike, they do have like some game to it. Like I think some of the cards have like stats on it and you can like do some shit with it. I've never done it because again, I've never opened it, but I've never bought any more from them either. Just cause, but oh, they changed from Epics to Colix. So yes, to answer your question, the trading card game, it's a finicky.
Did you look at hotels by chance? Sorry.
No, that's what I'm doing. I'm gonna do that as soon as I get off. I was gonna get on my laptop and on the couch and look at it because now that what's his face is going. Plus, like the trading cards, it's like much like NFTs, where it's like their value is only good as someone's gonna pay for them.
Yeah.
I guess on the bright side is with a trading card. Like, did you see what happened with the F1 game? Like, apparently there was an F1 NFT game that you could download. No one knew it existed, right? But it was a NFT F1 app, and then it ended up shutting down today, basically making all the NFTs in there absolutely useless.
Just worth shit.
Right. And so you kind of run into that issue with, that would be my risk of NFT. I mean, first off, I don't do NFTs anyways, but.
Did y'all stay at the Marriott Courtyard?
Yeah. It's the Marriott Courtyard. There's like a couple of them, but it's the one near the convention center.
It's called Marriott Courtyard Dallas Downtown Reunion District.
Yep. That's the one we stayed at last time. I was going to look at prices, but probably end up there.
That is the cheapest one as of right now, and
Is it? And it's really,
the
I mean,
site that I'm looking at
it's
least.
really not that far. I mean, you can see on the map, it's
Close.
okay, yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I had the I have those Counter-Strike ones. I just haven't opened them. And at this point, Wolf, I figured why open it, and I'll just save them until maybe 5 million years from now. They'll be worth billions of dollars
Hey, again.
a year.
Actually, I can play with them, but in Dallas is also. Then it became another.
All right. I'm going to edit this show and upload it. Everyone in chat, love your face. Wolf, we'll talk to you later, man. Bye.